Why mobile-friendly website design matters for today's businesses. Ecom Business Solution, based in Bellevue, Washington, built its business on a simple premise. They believe businesses should not have to manage 5 different vendors to get one working website. The company combines website development, e-commerce support, digital marketing, branding, research and hands-on training under a single roof, working directly with clients instead of routing them through a rotating cast of subcontractors. The firm empowers leaders to strengthen their brand and digital presence through thoughtful marketing strategy, clear messaging, professional online presentation and supportive communication. That structure shows up in how Ecom Business Solution treats something many businesses still consider an afterthought: whether their website actually works on a phone. The company builds mobile functionality into every package it sells, not as something added at the end. "We don't build a site and then check later whether it works on a phone," said a spokesperson for Ecom Business Solution, Bellevue, Washington. "Mobile has to work from the first design conversation, because that's usually where a customer meets a business for the first time. If that experience is clunky, it doesn't matter how good everything else on the site is." The company's process starts the same way for every client, regardless of size. The team learns the business, its products, its audience and its goals before any design work begins, then builds a plan around structure, branding, content and training. Mobile performance runs through that entire plan rather than showing up as a checklist item near the end. "Clients don't usually walk in asking about responsive design by name," the spokesperson said. "They ask why their site looks unprofessional on a phone, or why people leave without filling out a form. Once we explain that those two things are connected, it clicks pretty fast why we build mobile in from day one instead of testing for it afterward." A mobile-first world meets people where they scroll. The pros at Ecom Business Solution in Bellevue, Washington, say people no longer sit down at a desktop to check out a business online. They pull up a website between meetings, in a grocery store line or from the passenger seat of a car. Mobile devices have carried more than half of global web traffic for most of the past decade, according to StatCounter, the analytics firm that tracks browser and device data worldwide. In the United States, mobile accounts for roughly half of all site visits, StatCounter's data shows. That shift means a business's website now has to do 2 jobs at once. It has to hold up on a wide office monitor and on a phone screen someone is holding with one hand while walking. A lot of business owners still picture their own desktop screen when they think about their website, the spokesperson said. But that's usually not how a customer is seeing it. Someone finds a business through a text a friend sent, a social post or a quick search while they're already out running errands. If the page loads slow or the menu doesn't respond to a thumb, that customer is gone before they ever see what the business offers. The same person often bounces between devices before making a decision. A visitor might discover a business on a phone during a commute, look it up again later on a tablet at home and finally reach out through a laptop at the office. Each of those visits needs to feel like the same business, with the same layout logic and the same information easy to find, or the inconsistency itself becomes a reason to hesitate. Consistency across devices builds trust in a way people don't always notice consciously, the spokesperson said. If a site looks sharp on a laptop but breaks down on a phone, that gap makes a business look smaller and less established than it actually is. We hear from clients that once their site works the same way everywhere, they stop getting the same complaints about their online presence that used to come up constantly. What responsive design actually means? Responsive design is the term for a website that reshapes itself based on the device displaying it. Ecom Business Solution builds every client site this way, so a layout showing 3 columns on a desktop screen collapses into a single, scrollable column on a phone, with images, text and buttons resizing to fit. The goal is not just that a site loads on a smaller screen. It is that a visitor is not stuck pinching and zooming to read a headline or missing a button sized for a different device. Responsive design isn't a nice-to-have, the spokesperson said. It's the difference between someone actually engaging with a business or bouncing off after 5 seconds because the page fought them the whole way through. We build layouts that adjust across desktop, tablet and mobile devices as one connected system, not 3 separate websites pretending to be one. Ecom Business Solution. We want someone to find what they need, read it clearly and take an action. Mobile usability touches nearly every function a business website performs. Navigation menus need to collapse into something a thumb can tap without brushing 3 other links by accident. Text needs enough room to breathe so a visitor is not squinting or endlessly zooming to get through a paragraph. Contact forms carry extra weight on mobile, since a field that is hard to select or a drop-down that will not open on a touchscreen can cost a business a lead outright. Product pages face a similar test, because a shopper scrolling through images and descriptions on a 5-inch screen needs the same clarity a desktop shopper gets with far more room to work with. Every part of a site gets tested the same way, whether it's a contact form, a product gallery or a blog post, the spokesperson said. We want someone to find what they need, read it clearly and take an action, whether that's filling out a form or looking at a product, without the device getting in the way. That's the whole point of building it right the first time instead of patching it later. Product browsing in particular tends to expose weak mobile design fast. A gallery that requires a visitor to zoom in just to see a product clearly, or a description buried below several scrolls of unrelated content, adds friction at the exact moment a business wants to make its best case. Ecom Business Solution organizes product content and imagery specifically for smaller screens rather than shrinking a desktop layout down and hoping it holds up. A shopper on a phone doesn't have the patience a desktop visitor might have, the spokesperson said. They want to see the product, read what they need to know and move to the next step without hunting for it. If we get that part right, the rest of the site tends to perform the way a business owner hoped it would. Building for the long-haul mobile optimization, in Ecom Business Solutions' view, is not a separate service tacked onto a website package. It is one piece of what makes a site professional and accessible to every visitor, standing alongside clean structure, clear branding and content that is organized instead of scattered. The company builds that consistency into every package it offers, whether a small business is starting with a basic homepage or a growing company needs a fully custom build with e-commerce and CMS integration. The idea is a website that holds up the same way regardless of which package a client chooses, so it can grow with the business rather than need a rebuild every time expectations change. A website that only works well on one type of device is already behind before it launches, the spokesperson said. We think about flexibility from the start, because a business's customers aren't going to change how they use their phones to accommodate a site that hasn't kept up. Our job is to make sure the site keeps up with them instead, and keeps working that way as the business grows over the next few years, not just at launch. Businesses weighing where to invest limited resources will hear a consistent message from Ecom Business Solution. Mobile optimization is not a line item to revisit later. It belongs in the foundation, built alongside the design, the branding and the content, so a business's website works the way its customers already do, from wherever they happen to be standing. They say a website is often the first real conversation a business has with someone who could become a loyal customer. We want that conversation to go well no matter what screen someone happens to be holding, an executive leader at Ecom Business Solutions shared. Get that part right, and a business stops chasing customers and starts becoming a place people actually want to come back to.